To all my gamers and NFT players, Viral Hip Hop News and the Lightest Fair Network have teamed up to bring you something revolutionary in the gaming and NFT space. Go to play.finesse.fun right now to play the season preview of the game Finesse Shadow Warriors exclusively on play.finesse.fun. Don't be the last to be a part of this new technological advancement in gaming and NFT. Play.finesse.fun to play the season preview of the game Finesse Shadow Warriors. Link is in the description box. Let them know Viral Hip Hop News sent you. Let's go.
Right. Welcome to another episode of the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. I'm your brother, O God, from Hip Hop News Uncensored, and sitting across from me is my co-host.
What up, y'all? It's your man, Sam, and CEO of Viral Hip Hop News. You're in the building for a very special edition of the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. We got hip hop royalty on the show today.
Yeah.
Positive Case on the podcast. What's good with you, family? How you doing?
I can't complain, even though I could, but it's all right. That's what my granddaddy say.
I heard that, brother. We appreciate you coming on. It's been a long time coming, man. We've been talking for a couple months now, so we definitely appreciate all the back and forth, and we here now. So how you feeling? 2023 is upon us. We in the thick of things now, about to hit the springtime, man. So how you feeling, brother?
I'm fresh and exciting, man. I'm a little concerned because you guys got snow out in Cali, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's 80 degrees in ATL, and New York City's under a foot in a blizzard. So I don't know, man. It's all weird right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dang, I ain't know that. I ain't know you was snowing up in New York.
Yeah, it's weird right now.
Yeah, man. But talk to us, man. I heard you, man, getting into the comedy world. Talk about that a little bit. That transition.
Not an easy transition, man. Very very complicated. I really respect comedians right now.
Right.
Don't you think that when you laugh around your homies and your partners and hey man, it's all good. Hey man, you're hilarious. You get on stage and it's a whole different ballgame. I mean, when you sit down and you see people of color sitting in front of you, with some drinks and some wings, the game changes, man. The game changes.
So talk about, because the way T.I. made it seem, shit was easy. Comedy was easy. But I mean, that was T.I. Talk about your experience.
I wouldn't even discredit, respect to T.I., man.
Yeah, word up.
King of the South. Look the King of the South. I wouldn't discredit comedians by saying it's easy. I watch guys like my boy Zooman Miller, my man D'Amico Henderson, Rodney Perry, Marvin Hunter. I watch these guys, man, 10 stages apart, and I watch them prepare. I watch them put it together. I watch guys come a long way and develop themselves into this craft and call themselves comedians. I don't even say I'm a comedian. I just say I do comedy. I give that level of respect to those guys who've been journeymen all their life. But it's not an easy task. It's fun. The process is fun. The journey is fun. But when you on stage, man, and things not going the way you plan, like Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan until you get punched in the face. And in comedy,
right?
Everybody got a plan until ain't nobody laughing, and you hear crickets.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
So talk about, some of the similarities and the differences from music, being up there doing music, being up there doing comedy. Like some things is similar, some things is different about it. If you can.
Love it, man. I love it. I always thought there was a definite correlation a long time ago. Like I said, one of the first guys that did it before Kid from Kid and Play. One of the first dudes, and I seen the correlation because I seen it's you in the microphone.
Right.
It's you in the microphone. It's you in the crowd, and it's that energy. That energy is the same. When you drop a dope record, or say you're freestyling, and you hit that 1, 2, 3, 4, that punchline come in, and the music drop out, and the crowd goes, "Oh, that was dope." You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing when people laugh and tell a joke. It's like, wow, you can't replace that feeling. I even think it's a little bit more rewarding because this is not where I really originally come from. I come from the craft of entertainment, but I don't come from the craft of comedy. I'm acclimating myself to that. But when you drop that thing, man, and bam, and they go, oh, and they laugh, you're like, wow, that was real, and you feel it, and you get charged. You get charged, man. You get charged. Like you get Richard Pryor or something.
Right.
You feel good, man. But listen, man, it's a double-edged sword. You you can live, you can win and crash at the same time in comedy at any given moment, man. I mean, you can do that, and people like you say something else, and they'll be like,
right,
and you be like, oh, you didn't get that? Oh, you got that, but you didn't get that. You know,
that's dope that you bring that perspective, because we all have had that rush. You know what I mean? A different type of rush. And you talk about that dynamic between hip hop and then comedy, but nonetheless, that rush is still the same once you feel that from the fans. It's the fans that bring it together and to bring it to life. So definitely appreciate that story, man. But take us back. You said your original craft isn't comedy. For those who don't know, what your man got to do with me.
Yeah.
We grew up in definitely products of the 90s, born in the 80s, and that was one of the songs that we knew verbatim growing up. You know what I mean? So we definitely have the pleasure of having you on right now, man. So take us back, man. Take us back to getting into hip hop, your first introduction to hip hop, growing up in the Bronx in the 60s. Man, just take us back to all that, brother.
Well, let me take you back into the beginning of time. Yeah, man. Well, you know, dude coming up in the Bronx, born in the Bronx, right across from Echo Park. My grandmother stayed on Valentine Avenue. Stayed in a building called 1880. A lot of people know it was like two big buildings, like 2,000. One was 1880 and one was 2,000. A lot of famous basketball players came from 2000. Lamar Odom came from 2000. A lot of people came from over there, man, in that area. But you know, I used to see these guys coming in and roll these equipment in there and turntables, and they was wearing Kangos and you know, and the Mother Teresa pieces. That was the jewelry back then, you know.
Okay.
British Walters and Playboys and things like that. Google that, children. Google that. You know? But yeah, you know, and I heard them plug this equipment up, and I started hearing the sound, man, and I was done. When I heard that, man, I was finished, man. When I heard DJ Hollywood singing Tang, I don't want to go uptown without my honey bun, I was like, what is that? Who is that? How can I do it? You know?
Right.
And I was engulfed, man. You know, they couldn't keep me out the park. And I was in everybody's face. I was the kid that was bugging everybody like, yo, get away from me. Kid, you bother me. You know what I'm saying? You know? So that was me, man. But I pursued it. I later moved to Queens, New York. Ran into this guy named Sweetie G, who was like a Queens #1 solo sensation. I told him I wanted to rap. I was like a little protege. I used to carry the records to the club and all of that. You know, I was a record boy. And then he hooked me up with this dude named Mike from Mike and Dave, originally from the Crash Crew. You know, and he wanted to do a record, and he heard the little demo that me and this guy was working with, Sweetie G, and he was like, I love it. He said, let's do it. I'm doing a compilation, and I got a compilation with a couple of cats. And one of the other dudes on the record, his first record was Rob Bass. It was a song called DJ Interview with Rob Bass made, and my song was called Getting Paid, which was the leading song because the compilation was called Fast Money. So it was some Harlem dudes doing it, man, and we did it, and that was my first thing. I heard it play on Mr. Magic, and I lost my mind.
Dope.
Yeah. And Google that, children. If you don't know what Mr. Magic is, we probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Mr. Magic. So Google that.
Right. Now I know you pretty much got a chance to see like hip hop at its inception, you know, especially living right there, you know, in New York. But I want you to talk about something that was like kind of synonymous with hip hop back then, was the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths. Talk about that and how, you know, how that intertwined with hip hop and growing up in that as well.
Well, first of all, peace to the gods and earth, man. All the true living gods out there. You know, that was a good time, man, because hip hop was coming out, man, and it was just a good time, man. I remember learning lessons, learning my 120, and listening to Sucker MC. You know, it was crazy. I mean, you know, because I used to go to school right where the bus terminal was, and this is where everybody, like, you know, came to from all schools. It was like the Mecca of Queens meeting after school. If you had beef with somebody, you met them there. You got it on right there. You know, you wanted to see a little honey, you met it there. You kicked it to it there. You know, and if you had something brand new on, you wanted everybody to see, you wore it there. You know what I'm saying? So, and I remember Run DMC coming out with that record, man, and they used to walk around like about a group, like about 12 of them, from Hollis. They used to come through Hollis, and you know, I was from the South Side at the time, and Hillside. So Hollis and Hillside and South Side always had like a little beef. So going through the terminal was a little tension. But when they was bumping that new joint, we was like, what the hell is that? What is that? That joke was like, boom, 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 that, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, yo, we was following them around. We hoping they played the game. That's how dope it was. But I remember that, man, learning the lessons, man, and meeting with the guards down there, man, at the terminal, getting a little cipher, whatnot, going through the day's mathematics and all of that, man. And that was a time, man. That was a time. I used to live around the corner from Pizza the God mathematics from Wu-Tang. You live around the corner, and a lot of rap gods. I mean, was in Queens. If you was at that point in time, everybody was God by.
Yeah.
Everybody was moving around, eating little ham sandwiches around the corner sometimes. And we caught you. We bombed you for that. I remember the guards who did that too. It wasn't right and exact. But that was a beautiful time, man. And I was knee deep in the game. Then I was already with Lumumba Carson, who turned into be Professor X, the overseer, was my first manager, and I was his first artist. And he took me over to First Priority Music, where I started making records with them with MC Light and the audio too. And I was God bodied, man. One honey bun. That was it. You see me, it was positive K. Positive K stands for positive knowledge. That's where it comes from. So that was a great time, man, and it was a great time to live in New York City. And I think, I'm appreciative of the 5% Nation, because I probably would have been dead or in jail or something like that if it wasn't for that.
Dope. Appreciate that. Talk about your first interaction with writing rhymes, getting behind the mic, spitting live, getting in the booth. Talk about your inception into becoming an artist in hip hop.
My cousin lives in the Bronx. I used to stay with him all the time. And right next door to his building was Shy Rock and Lisa Lee. My uncle had a barbershop in the Bronx called the Clifton Grounds, and I used to cut in there in the summertime. Hey, listen, ain't my fault. I messed up a lot of dudes in the Bronx. They had a lot of beef with me. You know what I'm saying? I zeeked a lot of hairlines. You know what I'm saying? So don't try to be mad at me. But I got good. But it was a rough start. But right next to me when I was cutting hair was this guy named Phil Counts, who was the brother of Lisa Counts, which is Queen Lisa Lee from the Zulu Nation, from Us Girls at the time. And that was the biggest star I ever knew. Plus, her and Shyrock looked like supermodels, to me. First time I ever seen females with those big door knockers and mink coats. It was crazy, So, believe me, it was like that too, So he brought me to the crib. He said, "You got to hear this guy. You got to hear him. You got to hear him." So I started rhyming for him. I'll never forget. He was beating on the washing machine, and I'm rhyming in their kitchen and whatnot. And she called Shyrock, and then Shyrock came over and heard me, and she said, "You going up tonight?" I'm like, going where? I'm going back to Queens tonight. You know what I'm saying? But she said, "No, you staying? Are you staying tonight? And you going?" They took me to a club called the Spider's Web, which is the OT Connection, and it was the Cold Crush Brothers was rocking that night, and Shyrock and Lisa Lee made it. They popped up and they brought me, and they got me on the mic, man, and I rhymed to that song, "Give It What You Got." But one of those, it's a big rap record the guys made, R&B group, not I think it was Jodeci, one of them, or Boys II Men or somebody, but it was like a little break beat, and it was called "Give It What You Got," and I rhymed to that, man, and I got busy, and I was scared to death. I was shaking like a pair of dice, man. I'm talking like a Honda mini bike. I was shaking. I didn't know who was, but I got off, and they was like, "Yo, you dope. And I was kind of like inducted into the Zulu Nation, and I was just in the Bronx all the time, rhyming. And finally, I came out with some real decent records at First Priority, and I made that a song called "Step Up Front," and I made a song called "I'm Not Having It" with MC Light, which kind of like took off and just kind of like stamped the whole thing for me, and that's where I started to go from there. Till I made "What Your Man Got to Do with Me."
Dope.
Ryan, let's walk right up to that. A few years later, you make that song. When did you record it? How was it bringing the concept together? And then talking about like how did it get big? Was it through radio? Let us know about that whole process.
At that point in time, I was kind of really on stage. I was taken to the stage. There was a club called the Latin Quarters, and my manager was Paradise Gray and Lumumba Carson, and they used to make me go perform every weekend, and it was a terrifying thing because that was it. The stage was like it was like mountain high. and you would look down on the crowd, and everybody was looking at you like you was so separated from the crowd, but the place was so huge, it made sense. But it was terrifying. I watched people get booed on that stage. I watched Kid and Play when they came out as a new group, and they weren't Kid and Play then. I watched them get booed. I watched the best dudes get booed on that stage, And Too Short came in and got the grumbles. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people got booed on that stage. I had some crickets some nights myself. You know what I'm saying? you wasn't escaping that. But it was dope, man. And I was taking it to the stage. But I made the song when I was at the label First Priority. But they wasn't treating me good, and I left. And Big Daddy Kane came in. He was like, "Yo, man, I like what you're doing. I like what's going on." He's like, he had my back, and he was like, "If you want to leave, I got your back. I got your back." I said, "Man, you know what? I'm out of here." The hottest guy in the game at this point in time is like, "Come on, I got you." And Kane put me in the studio, put money in my pocket. He took me on the road, and it was just me and Kane on the road. Then he brought this other dude in named Jayz. Brought him on the road. I didn't like that too much, but he was messing with my shine, But the competition came in, and I had to step up to it. But I Got a Man came out, man, and it was crazy about it because I had did it with Kane, and I didn't really like how it came out with Kane. But the concept of what I did was when I did the vocal back to back, I was demoing the song for MC Like to Hear,
Okay.
So I used to like pinch my nose and say, "What your man got?" I was doing that.
Right.
And so she can tell, my verse, not verse. And he was like, "Yo, what's that?" I was like, "That's this new song I was going to do with me and Light. I ain't going to do it now since I ain't there." He's like, "Nah, you got to do that." So Kane went in and started playing what I had and pitched it up. And it was kind of, I was like, "Okay, all right." I said, "I can't do that." I said, the homies ain't gonna rock with me. And then I never forget, I think Freddie Fox walked into the studio and he was like, "Who the chick?" And Kane was like, "Steve."
Nobody knew.
And I was like, man. I said, "Well, Kane might have something." But I didn't like how it sounded. I said, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it to the point where I can't even tell if it was me. So I went ahead and I did it and I tweaked it. So Kane got so frustrated, he was like, "You finished the record, I'm out." Kane was like, "I'm out." I said, "Okay." So I went and I spent half of my recording budget, I think, mixing that one song and flying engineers in and getting it to the point where it was like, yeah, that's it right now. Yeah, I can't even tell. This is it. This is dope. And I went with it. And I'm gonna tell you this, it was so crazy because the song came out, it died. It died at Black Radio. I mean, it was finished.
Wow.
And then it was like maybe about 4 or 5 months after that, the label, I was getting ready to go to my next record. And the label said, "Look, we're gonna service it to Pop Radio, just to see what happens over at Pop Radio." It went to Pop Radio and it went through the ceiling. And then it came back to Black Radio. And Black Radio, it went through the ceiling.
Dope.
Yeah, Red Alert took it to Kiss FM, and he got it added first. That was the first Black station that added I Got a Man, and I ain't looked back since.
Right. Now I also heard, I don't know if this is true, let me know, that you were battling Jay-Z. You guys were going back and forth battling. Is that true? And if so, who won?
Kane had a warped sense of humor. You know what I'm saying? You gotta understand, we were on the road, man, and we got bored quick.
Right.
When you driving from New York City, driving all the way to Oklahoma or something, you gotta find ways to amuse yourself. So
right.
Kane would come in and be like, "Hey man, hey yo, Pies, what's up?" I mean, he said, regular conversation. "Hey yo, what you think about Jay? Yo, Jay cool, yo, Jay, yeah, Jay, Jay the homie." You're like, yeah, but I don't think Jay respects you, man. He like, "Yo, you only get shouts and screams because you got records." I'm like, "What? What he say?" The next thing I know, I'm gonna know my shoes are tight now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm walking through the bus and I'm just looking at him like, "Oh, all right, okay, all right." And so I see Kane talking to Jay. Now I know he told Jay, Jay, man, Pies don't think you really got any skills. So Kane got me and Jay like this.
Dang.
So next thing you know, we're on the bus, man. The little friendly cipher starts up. you know, and it's like, no, we going at it. Next thing you know, it's getting serious now. I'm rapping, he rapping, yeah. Everybody's stopping. It's just me and Jay. We rapping, you know, and Kane's in the back just dying laughing. You know what I'm saying? Because he got us amped and hyped. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he used to say, okay, I'm gonna bring y'all out in the middle of the show. Y'all figure out who's gonna go first or last. He didn't say, what, and we couldn't figure it out because, you know, everybody wanted to go last.
Right.
Going last was the spot. So he said, Kane, so check it out. Whoever gets the most, the crowd cheering from the most will go last the next night. I said, you know what? I'll go first this night. So the first night out, we went. And let's just say, I've been going last ever since.
Oh, man.
And Jay, no disrespect, but you know what time it was there, you know? You know, and true, I did have records. People knew me more than they knew him. You know what I'm saying? So I might have had an edge, you know. I think I'm going first now if Jay go up. So
that's dope.
Big shout out to Jayz. That's the homie, man. That's the homie.
Sure.
Talk about the industry, because you said in the beginning of Priority Records you hated it. Kane came and got you out. You know what I mean? You made I Got a Man, or you showed him, and you know what I mean? The rest is history. When it came to that record, blew up. But talk about your time in the industry. Oftentimes we have people on here and they have a multitude of experiences when it comes to this conversation and this question. So what's yours?
I'll tell you this, if it wasn't for the industry, I probably wouldn't have made it as far as I have, because I became a businessman, you know, not knowing business, not knowing how to really handle finances, how to take meetings or any of that. I made myself a businessman. You know, people laughed at me. I said, I'm going to start the company. Probably the first one after Russell, you know, doing independent. I did that, and I helped out a lot of people. I helped out Wu-Tang Clan, get out Protect Your Neck. You know, I got a partner of mine who's my promotion guy from Polygram, which I was signed to, seeing what I was doing. I was making relationships with DJs around the country. Because how I got signed was I sold 80,000 units of Night Shift, song called Night Shift, that was produced by Kane, and that's how I got my deal. And they also realized what I was doing as far as promotions, so they gave me some promotion money. Probably one of the first rappers to get promotion money. People say that along the line, but I mean, I was really the first one of the very first to get it, because no one was doing independent companies at that time. I hope Showbiz and AG, Fat Joe, Wu-Tang Clan, definitely with the Protect Your Neck. They talk about it to this day. I'm one of the guys who made Month of the Man, because I had an artist named Raggedy Man that was signed to Def Jam. I had got 2 REL labels through Russell. I had a couple of other artists that were signed to Payday, which Patrick Moxie and those guys used to manage Gangstar and them dudes. It was that, and the promotions thing took off. I started doing promotions, and L.A. Reid reached out to me and my partner Sincere Thompson and asked us to work this group called Outkast. So they flew me down to meet these 2 dudes, and I went down and I went to the dungeon, and I sat there and I listened to everything they had, and I loved what they were doing. To this day, I think they're one of the best duo groups in rap, next to Run DMC. Went down there. I never forgot they had these car seats in the dungeon. So you sat down, and when you got it, you felt like you was in the ride when you was listening to it. That was so genius to me. I thought that was incredible. But at that time, I was number one. I was on top of the world. I was the hottest guy on the planet. Through the young, through the old, nationalities, you name it, genres. I was rocking everywhere. I was doing bar mitzvahs. You know what I'm saying? That's how hot I was. And I broke Outkast because DJs, this is when the South wasn't being heard at that point in time. It was like, oh, this is some guys from the South.
Right.
And unless it was like, you know, shake music, it wasn't, you didn't really hear it. And I broke the record, man. And I was telling DJs, man, give me them spins. Because I had a great relationship with DJs. You know, even after even when I was signed to Polygram, I was still working with the DJs. I knew their mothers. I knew little sisters that was going to school. Your daddy was sick. I knew they was sick. I remember birthdays. I used to call people, wish them happy birthdays. I was tight with DJs. And that's why I always had great success. So Outkast broke, and next thing I know, it took off on it. After that, it was gone. You know, it was gone. Funkmaster Flex was like, "Come on, man, you're making me play this." And next thing I know, I'm like, "Flex, how you digging it?" "Oh man, nah, it's banging." oh, we on, yo, you good, and it took off, man, and Outkast has never looked back. First time they were ever seen was on Yo MTV Raps, Fab Five Freddy with me. They came to my office in New York. It was supposed to be my interview, but I said bring them in and let's introduce them to the world. So I brought them in, and the first time they were ever seen was on Yo MTV Raps on the Fab Five Freddy and myself.
Powerful. Thinking about like, how the music has changed from when you came out in the 90s to now, hip hop has evolved. Do you think it evolved for the better or for the worse in some instances, as far as like the messaging with the women and men? How do you feel about that?
Man, evolution is evolution. That's always to the good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But as long as we evolve, and as long as this thing keeps on moving, it's good. Anything stagnant is going to, at some point, it's going to die. We don't deal with stagnation. We always deal with the movement. We build and we destroy. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? So the movement was always great. I think it's a double-edged sword, though. I think that production these days are incredible. I love the production. I think production is insane. These producers, man, these guys are like accomplished musicians. Some of these guys now play 2 or 3 instruments. You know what I'm saying? And they mastered engineering because the technology is learnable. You know what I'm saying? So these guys got that equipment where they can mix the song in their closet. You know what I'm saying? It's incredible. And the production is insane. The creativity, I think it didn't progress from where we came from. I don't see the progression of the creativity. When we came up, all we had was 2 turntables and a microphone, and we might have had a drunk uncle that played the bass. And that was it. That's all we had. We had to make do. You had to try call record. Hey, we had 1 bass line in the song. That was somebody uncle who played the bass.
Right.
So that was it, man. That's all we had. But these guys today, man, songs are incredible. If the creativity can meet that production right now, I think it would evolve again. If we could do that. So but evolution is always good. I let everybody that has their turn to burn. Let these cats do what they do, and hopefully they'll look back and say, you know what? Let's put Slick Rick on this joint. Let's get KRS on this joint. Let's put Positive K on this joint. Let's get Big Daddy Kane on this joint. Let's get MC Light rocking with such and such on this joint. Hopefully we'll get there one day.
Let me ask you this, in your professional opinion, from being in hip hop and kind of sitting on the manager side and scouting talent, why do you think the creativity is lacking today in hip hop? The production is insane, like you said. I completely agree, but the creativity from that side, why do you think it's lacking?
Well, in our era, we never had too much of an artist repertoire. You know what I'm saying? But we did have some. I mean, guys tried to do it, like the Russell Simmons tried to do it. Andre Harrell tried to do it. They tried to emulate the Motown. How to teach guys how to speak on interviews without saying "nah man." I did it 20 times. You know what I'm saying? So there was an instance in my era where you were taught how to be an artist, and get on stage and want to do a good performance, how to, and how to greet your fan base and talk to them and interact with them. I think right now it's a bit arrogant right now. I don't think people don't treat the fan base like that's their lifeline. They treat them like, hey, you on my joint right now? Stop sweating me. Like, why you on me like that? You on my necklace? Get off my. It's like they don't give them respect like that, and fans don't want to. People don't want to come up to you when they treat it like that.
Right.
They can love the music and so forth, but you gotta treat people correct, man. When someone's loving the craft and what you're doing, and appreciate what you do, you gotta show some love back. And I don't think you see that right now. And I think it's the lack of creativity because no one shows a lot of people how to perform on stage. A lot of guys don't want to get on stage if they don't have a video. They don't get on stage unless their song is in full rotation. And that's a shame because you can still see the veteran artists like Gladys Knight. She'll perform. Charlie Wilson will perform and do a show.
Mm-hmm.
And say, well, here's my new song. You ain't never heard it before, but he's gonna do his new record. He's gonna leave you with something new. And new artists don't even want to do that. They don't want to get on stage unless somebody knows it. Or they get on stage with 9 guys and 12 guys, and it's like I'm not like, who's the art? Who is mine? You know what I'm saying? And, it's a little confusing, man. I'm confused. I got a lot of questions, but I don't knock the folks, man. I don't knock this generation for what they do. Go ahead and do it, man. I support them 100%. But if I was to sign a new artist right now, he would know how to do interviews. He would know how to interact with his crowd. He would know how to get on stage and perform, and he'll do it without the video and without the rotation, because that's where it starts. Mm-hmm. And if you do it, and if you nail it there, when everything else comes into play, then you're a monster.
Mm. Great points. Talking about hip hop today. How about the women's side though? Is that we think it's the same as the men's side? Because you would want to think about the song you put out, like the message in that. Which I got him, and which that man got to do with me. You kind of see that same message like reverberating through hip hop now with the women, even in the men. So how do you feel about that aspect as well?
Well, no one has yet seen to top that yet. Do it. Man, no one has topped that yet. And many have tried, but no one has topped that yet.
Right.
When I first did that song, it was, let me tell you where I was coming from with it. That's why I can compare it. Marvin Gaye was my number one artist, man. You know what I'm saying? Right. And when I was making records and I was getting success, but not what I wanted, I said to myself, what would Marvin Gaye do if he was a rapper? And I said to myself, you know what? All the Marvin Gaye joints were duets. It was either with Tammy Terrell, after she passed, it was with Diana Ross, and then Dionne Warwick. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know what? I got one of the baddest females right here. Let me do a duet. And that's what I did. I'm Not Having It. That was the mothership that launched the whole thing. And I Got a Man was the sequel. But what I'm seeing right now is that I don't see the females giving female subject matter. You know what I'm saying? I see females talking like dudes. When I did I Got a Man, I did it from the female. I looked at how females were doing things. And I was just chiming in with how females would chime in my perspective. But it was from a female perspective. Females are really rhyming from a man's perspective. Mm-hmm. And I don't see the femininity other than the twerk and the fashion and lyrics. I don't see it I don't hear it in the lyrics. Every female I see that's rhyming is tougher than dudes. And I understand it. I understand they feel they have to have some kind of bravado to come into a man's arena. But if you're a woman, men come to the female arena because we want to be around the chicks. For sure. That's what it is. And I haven't seen the femininity coming from women. I see the sexuality of it, but I don't see the vulnerability, where a woman do something when she bats her eyes and oh, come on, don't hurt me, daddy. Well, come on over here and do this for me. And she's breaking the man down. I haven't seen that yet. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen it. I just seen everything over the top, too much, little too much, and aggressive in a manly fashion. But I haven't seen a woman totally feminine and rhyme. If you have, let me know, because I haven't seen it.
No, I haven't seen that, but I gotta go here. You've seen a lot of men do feminine shit in hip hop now. So the world is reversed. So talk about that, man, because that just is what it is. The women want to be men, and the men, they want to be women. So what's up with that situation in hip hop as it pertains to hip hop?
I can't tell the story. I came from a young rapper, man, and we were in my era, we grew up, but we were very homophobic back then. You know what I'm saying? Right. We didn't know. There was a rumor there was a gay rapper. We didn't know who the gay rapper was. So I help you, man. Me and Jayz and all. We used to be in our hotel rooms. We had to share rooms. Nobody changed their clothes. Needless to say, we was a little ripe sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Like fuck that. Nope.
Yeah, nobody jumped in the shower until somebody went to the store to get some food or something. And you was running, shower up, and you throw your joints back on. Be like, yeah, okay, what up? So we were very homophobic back then, and times have changed. The world has evolved, and the right for people to live their life and do what they do is a given. That's a given to that. So I don't knock nobody. Rock what you do. You know what I'm saying? MC Uncle Peaches, do your thing. I got no problem with you, man. Not whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? I know there's some people in the business that I work with, and they live the lifestyle that they choose to. I won't say alternative. It's the lifestyle that they choose,
Right.
and I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying? As long as I don't get approached with that, I'm good. But I know people, and I hang out with people, and I do business with them. And that's what they do. That's their choice, and I got no problem with that. As long as we take care of our business, I'm cool. I'm good with it. But it's the sign of the times, and that's what it is. I mean, we always thought about who was this person, who was that person. Was Michael Jackson really Michael Jackson? Or was Michael Michelle Jackson? We didn't know. You know what I'm saying? But we loved the music. We didn't know if Prince was, with vanity, or was he wanting to be vanity? We didn't know. But we appreciated the music. We appreciated the music, man. And first and foremost, if we respect that, that's what it's about, man. What anybody do behind their closed doors is their business. Ain't mine.
Word.
So.
Well, so what's next for you, man? I know that you're doing a comedy now. Have you completely put music on the shelf, or are you kind of still dabbling in music as well?
I used to say comedy is my side chick, but I love her now.
Dang.
Well, I committed bigamy. I got 2 wives now. I love her, man. And we going that way, man. We going that direction.
Right.
This is what we doing. This is what I'm doing. I'm glad to see that I pushed a lot of people, from my genre to come in and throw their hat in the arena too. I'm not by myself anymore, and that's cool. And hopefully we'll see a rap comedy tour coming in a minute. And not too long ago, I did a show with me, Slick Rick. It was Rick, Rakim, Kane, myself, DJ Jazzy Jeff, and Rakim. And at the end of my show, man, I went into a little quick set. You know what I'm saying? And they loved it, man. In that setting, I didn't know how it was going to go over, but they loved it. It went well. So, hopefully we'll see some more of that, man. Some more of those things happening and go in that direction. But definitely, man, I'm 100. I'm 100 on that.
That's what's up.
Absolutely, man. We definitely appreciate the conversation.
Yeah.
Positive K on the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. Appreciate you taking us back, man, and giving us some jewels. I learned today that you were the woman on I Got a Man. I never knew that was you. I'm probably sure you said it on a million interviews, but I never knew that. That's crazy.
Hey, listen, no, I wasn't the woman. I was just the voice.
The voice, yeah.
The voice that was tweet to me.
Hey, man, we in this day and age.
Like the female. Now, we really got to be clear in this, this climate. We got to be clear. Nah, man, it was fun doing it. Matter of fact, recently Brady Watt just called me. The dude that plays all the baseline licks when you rhyme and whatnot. He hit me. He's like, "Yo, man, I want to do that joint with you, man. That is so genius. It is so genius." Musicians and artists think it's, I think it's very genius. And I never was going to talk about it. I was going to save it for my book, but it leaked out. And I think DJ Mr. C was the first one to start talking about it. Wonder why. But big shout to Mr. C. He's family people. These people's, man. It leaked out with him, man. And that's how it started. So I said, I'm not gonna hide it, but it was a genius thing to do. No one really ever done that. And again, a lot of people have tried to even do it with just, regular records or just doing personality kind of things. They've done that. So it's good to see that, the influence is still shining.
Real quick before we get out of here, did you hear Kendrick's on his last album, the one he did? I forgot what it was called, but the joint is incredible, where he goes back and forth like, "Fuck you, nigga, nah, fuck you, bitch." Nah, did you hear that joint? It's
incredible. It's psycho. It's like
yeah.
It's like the movie Psycho when dude was playing his mother. It was literally like some psychopaths talking to psychopaths. It was incredible. But he's a genius, man. He's a genius. I wouldn't expect nothing less than that from Kendrick Lamar.
Word. Take us home.
Right, yeah, definitely, man. Positive K here on the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. Real quick, drop your social media handles, websites, anything else you want the people to know. Floor's open.
Hey, you reach me at +_K_ on Instagram and Twitter. If y'all still messing with Facebook, man, it's the official Positive K. Follow me, I'll follow you back. Fellas, if you got your shirt off, you know you're getting blocked. Don't even do that to yourself. All right, I'm not gonna follow you. I don't care if you came from the gym. I don't care if it was a quick selfie. If I see shoulder blades, you're not getting followed. Okay,
Right.
That's it.
Definitely
appreciate you. Positive K on the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast, man. We appreciate you, brother. Salute. Keep doing your thing.
Yes, sir.
Salute.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Hey.